money. Go.
Hi everybody, welcome back. Today's video is how to choose a doctor. But before I get into that, one of my supporters asked me to address doctors' questions. Number one, I feel great to say supporters. That feels awesome. It feels amazing. This is a tough journey, and deciding to go public on YouTube and share my journey, I need to know that I have people who support me, or not just watching just for to be nebby or to have negative, lashback. But anyway, trying to keep this video short, so let's get into it. So for my supporter, uh, you asked questions to ask the doctor. I'm not sure if you meant questions after getting there or questions before you choose that doctor, but here's the question list I have. And this is after choosing my doctor. If I'm wrong, I'll speak to you later and you can just tell me, and I'll make another video on questions before, or hopefully some of them will be answered in this video actually. So questions I have for when I arrive. What anesthesia will I be getting? A lot of times places do epidural. Epidural doesn't work for me. I have 7 children. It's never worked for me, so that's not an option for me. So I had to ask if they can use general anesthetic, which I was told you had to pay more for. I didn't completely agree with that because it's not like I'm choosing that. It's that I can't use epidural. It doesn't work. Okay. Ask if arm lipo and the armpits are included. A lot of places charge more. Sometimes if you just sit down with your doctor and say, hey, if it's not a lot, I really don't like this, they'll just do that and remove that. A question I have is, can he put fat in other areas? I'm not going to speak of it now. There's an area I want extra fat to go to. It's just a small amount. I'll address that later on in one of my other videos. But if there's an area in your body where you want extra fat that's not included in the BBL, then speak about that. Ask that question. Then ask about the tummy tuck scar. If you're getting a tummy tuck, ask about the scar. I've seen different scars. That's why I say ask, because I'm not sure if you could choose what kind of scar you want, or whatever. But I've seen different ones by the same doctor, so I don't know if that's just based off of your shape. But I would like to ask about that to get more information. If I can choose what kind of scar I want, I would like to. If you're getting your breast done, ask about the incision for that. There's like 4 different types of incisions, and I believe that a breast lift can be done through all incisions. I'm not quite sure. That's why it's one of my questions, because I would like to get a certain type of incision. I don't want a big scar as far as that if I don't have to. If you're getting a breast aug, ask for implant under the muscle. If you have a firm muscle, then I've heard that that's the best place for the implant to go, and I believe you have to ask for that. A lot of times doctors will just place it over top of the muscle, not knowing what your preference is. So if that's something you're interested in, research it and ask that question. One of my questions is, I want to ask to be the first person of the day, and because of what I'm getting done, I want to ask if I'm the only person of the day. That's important to me because I don't want him to be exhausted. I don't want to be rushed. This is very important to me, and I really want someone to take their time and do for me what I'm asking to be done without pressure. Okay, another question is, a lot of times doctors have assistants and they use their assistants in the operating room in the OR. far as the liposuction, I've heard that doctors have their assistants do the liposuction. I'm not sure if that's connected to why people sometimes get botched or whatever the case may be. But one of my questions to my doctor is to ask that he's the only one that touches me, unless it's something minor, small, IVs and administering things that nurses can administer and things like that. And I'm cool. But as far as the actual procedure, I would like for only him, if possible, to be the only one to lay hands on me. Okay, ask about laterals. A lot of people say hips, but they don't know that there's a lateral hip and then just a lower hip. If you're getting just a lower hip, that's going to create that V-shaped butt where it's bigger at the bottom but not much at the top. I would like some lateral, so it doesn't have to be major. That's what they consider the vixen shape. Sorry, my words are all messed up today. The vixen shape. So be sure and ask that question if that's what you want or you don't want. So ask about laterals, what they are, and if it's something for you, ask for them. If not, ask that he or she doesn't tamper with that area. And then another important question I was told to ask is, when can I start my massages? When you see your doctor before surgery, ask, or if you see him on your first post-op, excuse me, I'm so sick, on your first post-op exam, ask, when can you start your massages? Some doctors prefer you wait 24 hours, some say 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. I would like to start mine right away, so that's going to be a discussion between me and my doctor, because I've heard massages are very important. Starting them right away, being consistent with them, and getting that fluid off of you, and what is it? I'm lost for my word. Basically, stopping the seromas and things from forming. So yeah, that's all the questions I have for my doctor as of right now. And to my supporter, if you have any more questions, or just, I keep a piece of paper. I still have room left. If I come up with any more questions, just as I'm going in my journey, I will jot them down, and I'm taking this paper with me to my surgery so that I can be sure I don't forget to ask every single question I have on the list. Okay, so moving on to choosing your doctor. Pricing. It's not the most important thing, but it's definitely relevant. People say price doesn't matter, but getting your money's worth does. Okay, and what I mean by worth, I'm not saying be cheap, but if you're paying a lot of money, like you can pay cheap and get a whack doctor, you can pay cheap and get a good doctor. You can pay a lot of money and get a whack doctor, or you can pay a lot of money and get a good doctor. Factor it in, because it is a principle, and you want to get your money's worth. And what I mean by worth, once again, is service. Are they treating you right? Are they going to be good to you? Or are you just a thing to them? Or are they going to look at you as an actual patient? Because they do so many of these. I feel that, not blaming doctors, it's hard to distinguish after going so long and so many times and doing so many surgeries. A doctor would have to have a passion to hold on to the relationship between doctor and patient. And you want to treat it also like all of your other purchases. If you're going to purchase a $500 dress, you want to make sure it's a good dress, not just a one wear and then tear and throw away. Can I go with that? And just making sure, it's adequate to the service that you're receiving. Locations and limitations. DR versus Miami and other states. Certain locations, I know the United States has a limit as far as how many cc's they can take out. If you need a lot of fat removed, you might want to think about going to a doctor in the DR or another country that doesn't have as much as limitations, and they can do more for you. Be aware of that, because a lot of people don't factor that in, and then when they get done, they say they didn't get the results they wanted. Of course, there's limitations, so put that in there. Communication and punctuation. For choosing my doctor, what was important to me was communication and punctuation. Did they respond back to me right away? Did they answer all my questions? Or, did they blow me off? That's important to finding out who your doctor is and if he cares. He or she. Concerns and interests, not just a quick flipper. Okay, is he concerned? Will he turn you down if you don't meet the adequate, what is it? Come on, my words are lost today. I think it's that impediment I'm taking. If you don't meet the criteria for surgery, is he going to turn you down or is he going to do it anyway? So pay attention and be aware of that. That'll tell you if your doctor cares once again. One thing my doctor said to me that made me feel super confident and comfortable with choosing him was, no worries, we'll wait for you. I was stressed out and I was asking him so many questions and, about certain procedures and, just everything, because it was so much on YouTube. Can you have children after plastic surgery? I'm not fixed, so I'm not looking to have any more children, but if it happens, would that be detrimental to me, seeing as though I'm getting surgery? So, and he was just like, take your time, like, whoa, slow down, don't worry, we're gonna wait for you. Basically it's all about you. So, take your time and figure out what you want to do, and we're here for you. So that was just like, that sealed the deal, because I'm like, okay, he's concerned about me, and this is just my wants. This is not even my health we're talking about here. This is what I want and what what I'm concerned and what I'm worried about. So that was A1 to me, and it sealed the deal for me. But look for things like that when you're talking to your doctor. Certain things that make you feel special and make you feel comfortable, versus talking to other doctors and they're just like, hey, look, do you want to do this or not? Excuse me. Watch as many as reviews as possible. If you're choosing a doctor, try to see if you can watch reviews and what people are saying about that doctor. Not as far as for the negative, but for the positive. See what they say and if it matches up to how the doctor's treating you. My doctor only had one review so far that I found, and it was by Demori. Shout out to her for the awesome videos and the reviews. The info was definitely needed and respected. So thanks for sharing. If you come across this, if you watch this, if not, she's great. So and she, helped me choose my doctor, because everything that she said that was good about my doctor, he showed to me. So don't just take other people's word. Clarify it. Doctors work. Is it for you, and does it fit your body type and what you want? You cannot choose a doctor based on their pictures and their reviews if it doesn't fit your body type. And if it, it's based on what you want, whatever you want to look like when you're done. If his or her results are not showing that, then that's not what you want. That's not the doctor you want to go with. You got to make sure they specialize in your body type. It has to fit, or you're just gonna get up disappointed. Deposits, and do you feel like they're fair and you can afford to lose it in case of a change and there are no refunds? Deposit is just basically letting the doctor know that you're serious and that you're going to come, and if you don't, they have something to keep that they didn't waste their time and their date on, which is not a lot of money. Some places charge a lot and some places don't. My doctor didn't charge much. He only charged $250. That was great for me, because I'm like, if something happens and I have to lose this money, can I afford to pay it again, or afford to lose it at all? We can't afford to lose any coin out here. So just make sure that deposit is within your range and worth it for, like I said, the doctor again. Don't just be going out here paying a big deposit for a doctor, because after I paid my deposit, I kind of was like, dang, another doctor had responded back to me. I'm like, no, I had to humble myself and stay committed to my doctor, because I chose him for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Traveling, and can you afford to take the time off, and how far can you afford to go? Does it fit into your life? Okay, when I say afford, a lot of times I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about time. I'm talking about energy. Some people can afford to go far and they don't get homesick and they're not going to be like afraid or anything like that, flying so far or whatever the case may be. So make sure you pencil that in your factors of choosing your doctor. Make sure you can afford to go that far. I know people have children. Like, I can afford to go that far because I can trust my support system. I can trust that my children will be in good hands while I'm that far away and I can't get back right away. Excuse me. How I'm going to handle, I know I'm going to get homesick because I'm used to being around my children every single day, but how I'm going to handle that is FaceTime. Thank God for FaceTime. Like, I love it. I'll be able to see my babies and talk to them. And then if I'm down or feeling some kind of way, after surgery, I'm sure they'll definitely get me through. Goes along with support system I talked about in the last video. How long does a doctor want you to stay? Depending on how far you go, if you go to the DR, I know they want you to stay at least 10 days, recommended 15. I'm staying 15. I would like to stay more, but I just can't afford that. I can afford the money-wise, but I can't afford to be away from my children for a full month. You understand? I can't afford to be away from my home, my job, my life for a whole month. But my health is important to me, so I chose 15 days over 10 days. You feel me? I don't want to get back on a plane with unhealed incisions and things like that. If you can afford to stay longer, stay as long as possible, because there's no way I'm going to be able to fly back to the DR if something goes wrong. Feel me? Why I chose to go so far. I don't have a lot of fat, so I don't really need the limits, but I just know that I am going to the DR, and going to the DR, I know that they don't have as many limitations. They can do more, and I feel like even though I'm kind of small, they can do more with me than what a surgeon in the States can do for me. And like I said, I do not want a round two. I can't afford a round two, not money wise, but just health wise, just taking time off. And I'm on a mission right now, a positive mission to become the woman of my dreams. So I don't want to slow that down by getting multiple rounds of surgery and all that. One is good enough for me. I'll be satisfied with what I get up with, but I also want a doctor who is going to understand that I only want one round and to give me as best as possible and as much as possible. So yeah, I chose to go to the DR. Personality. Get to know your doctor. Even when talking to assistant, because most of the time you'll talk to the assistant and not the actual doctor. Sometimes you will be talking to the doctor, but even if you're talking to the assistant, the doctor's personality will show through the assistant, meaning they're underneath the doctor all the time. They know they can respond how the doctor will respond, or before they respond to certain things, they have to get permission from the doctor. So, getting to know the assistant is like getting to know the doctor, and I'm sure you'll talk to the doctor throughout that research process and choosing, selecting your doctor process and everything. So, getting to know them, and because you just don't want to just choose a doctor without knowing them or without them knowing anything about you. The more you talk, the more things will come up. Like I noticed that talking to my doctor for so long, certain things can come up where he's like, oh, so you don't like this, or we'll fix it, we'll work it out, and just putting those things in the doctor's brain, so when he's actually faced with you, he's like, okay, yeah, I know exactly what she wants, and he creates his or her own plan to create the best results for you. Dang, this video has ended up long. Okay, so why I chose my doctor, you guys get to find out who my doctor is today, and I'm happy I did. I chose my doctor, like I said, communication, punctuation, everything was on the point. Watching Diamori's videos, the way she spoke about her doctor, which is my doctor now, was just great. I'm like, dang, I want a relationship with my doctor like that. Like, I want a doctor like that, period. And then after doing my research on him and speaking with him, Dr. Marcos Sotos in the DR, he's out of Cipla. Uh, Yay. So I'm super amped. I chose him. I'm super happy. He's just made me feel so comfortable. He's answered all my questions. We still talk on a daily basis. I know he's sick of me, but he's never expressed. One of the things she said in her video, he's never expressed being tired of me. Like, like how many questions you gonna ask? So once the deposit was done and everything, like he was just on the point. Period. He even answered me one time. He was in surgery. I'm like, oh my bad. Like, get back to work. Sorry. So yeah. That concludes the video. Which I took super long, but it was necessary. And stay tuned. Um, like I said, take your time. Make sure your doctor is for you. Make sure you're getting a good doctor. Don't just go off of reviews. Don't just go off the popular doctors. You know, a lot of times there's doctors that are popular but not on internet, or not all the way out there. Because I know Dr. Marcos, my doctor, he's great. He got a lot of pictures and things on Instagram, but only one review on YouTube, but that doesn't mean anything. He's so sweet, he's so sensitive, he's so caring, and he's about that business to make sure everything is right as far as me being ready and healthy for surgery. So yeah, take your time, make it count, and stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one.
And we got everything I went through, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way